Hey, this is Nick here with additional crew, and today I bring you, while studying the effects of global warming on a pod of whales, grad students on a crabbing vessel and its crew uncover frozen Soviet space shuttle and unintentionally release a monstrous organism from it. I am, of course, talking about Alec Gillis's Harbinger Down from 2015, the movie that was kickstarted because of the tragedy that was the 2011 version of The Thing, in which they had a whole bunch of practical effects, but they didn't use them, so instead we got a bunch of CGI, and so in comes Harbinger Down promising to make use of the special effects. So we've got a movie that is clearly attempting to create some of the magic of The Thing, at least as far as the visuals go. Can it deliver? And the answer is clearly no. Okay, so Harbinger Down, there's a reason why it's not very well known. This is a film that's got Lance Henriksen as the star of the film, quote unquote, which he is the only person who has any sort of name there. But the real protagonist of the film is Sadie, played by Camille Balsamo. And then you've got a ragtag group of people that are there just to kind of fill out the crew and give you people to like mistrust. There is one particular performance, and it is the Russian lady, Savet Camilla Bjorlin. I may be pronouncing that wrong. And so she plays like the kind of antagonist. She is the Russian person on the ship who pretends not to know anything about it, but of course she does, because it's Soviet stuff, Russian stuff. She knows what water bears are, etc., 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 etc. So anyway, you've got this kind of like very straightforward plot. You've got this people stuck on the ship because they, of course, decided to go out in the middle of a winter storm onto a lake, and they got frozen solid. It looked that way anyways at the time. And then you've got an organism that comes off of a space shuttle that they found in the water, and they de-thawed and defrost it. And the setup for the film is that these guys are on an academic program and they're here to do research. They find the shuttle, they argue over who the shuttle is, and they let go of the organism, and the organism slowly takes over everyone. Well, I should say quickly takes over everyone, because the organism is the clear monster of the movie. It's a monster film, and we see it kind of like copy The Thing in a lot of ways. It wants to make you think that people could be infected, but ultimately what this movie fails to bring you is any sort of tension. You already know what's going to happen, and because the whole entire setup of the movie is The Thing, you're just constantly reminded of a better movie. And I mean a better movie. It's much better in every single way. I would even say that the 2011 Thing with the terrible CGI still look better than this movie. So the one thing that they could hang their hat on was getting the practical effects of that film and using them in a practical way. However, the effects are so kind of poorly done that they fail to look even interesting. I mean, you're just like blobs of things. Nothing that has any sort of shape or form that's even, remotely interesting. There are a couple moments. I will talk about like the legs with the little knobs on top. That looked pretty funny. And the end with all of the weird tentacles shooting everywhere. I don't know that the monster design was good, but the shots were kind of interesting. So it's not all a failure. But as far as, let's talk about story. Every character, extremely unlikable. They all made very strange decisions, and they all just hated on each other the whole way through. Can't care about any of them. The only person who is a saving grace there is Lance Henriksen. That's because he just plays the role of old, cynical boat captain that wants things to go his way, and he cares about his granddaughter. It's not a very interesting role, mind you, but it is a role that you can relate to. So that's the only little bit of good there. The actual like subplot with the Russian lady in the sub is so incredibly uninteresting and so underused. The sub doesn't even really show up. I mean, what's the purpose here? The story's a 1. Acting, it's going to be a 1 also. These characters, they very rarely feel like they're directed. And even Lance Henriksen near the end, when he's having like he's infected, we think, maybe seem to be, and he is trying his best to stay strong for his granddaughter, and he wants to kind of pull himself together and make sure that she's safe, even though he knows he's gonna die, and he cares about her. And then he has that heartwarming moment where he's like, I didn't tell you that your grandma is already dead, and it's been months, and now you're out here, and I just want you to know how much we loved you. It's just, even he has moments where he's just faltering, because I think that the script and the direction give him nothing to work with. In Lance Henriksen, he's an old pro. He's in the show Millennial, he's in Aliens, he's in Near Dark, he's in a bunch of awesome things. So he knows what he's doing. I can't blame him for that. But I will say the acting throughout this whole entire thing is terrible. Matt Winston, who plays Steven in this, he had few moments of relatability, but otherwise completely insufferable. Just one of the hardest watches. Big G, Guillaume, They just call him Big G the whole way through. Played by Winston James Francis is probably my favorite character and the one who's most relatable in this. Everyone else is just obnoxiously up and down, and they're almost all awful. So the acting, you're getting a 2. And that's just because of how much I like Lance Henriksen. Let me be clear. Cinematography and creativity. I want to say that this section is the section that really stood out. Is the section that should have stood out. And at times there were some good, interesting shots. Like I said, the shot at the end with the colors and the ship and the tentacle monster coming out the top, I liked that. So the shot of the monster on the bed, if the monster didn't look so stupid, would have been awesome. And then the idea of all of the water in the bottom of the ship where the charges have been placed by the Russians being monster, cool. It didn't make a lot of sense because why would the monster then not attack her? But mind you, interesting idea. So I'm gonna give this a 2, and I think that's being a little generous. Editing, pacing, not a particularly long film. I believe it came in just around like an hour and a half, hour 22 minutes, even underneath that. It felt every minute of that hour and 22 minutes though. The pacing wasn't slow, but the film was so interesting that it felt slow. Honestly, this movie could have been just a short movie and it would have been so much better for it. We didn't need to watch all of these people change. The effects were just so bad. If we really break it down, it's just a crime how they showed people transforming. Because you had Winston, the professor, Steven, who in the beginning was transforming. You got to see like him breaking out in red, and he had the cool tube things coming off of his back, and it sets kind of high expectations. And then after that, all you have is like these weird shots of I don't even know what to call it. It might have been stop motion. It's probably just CGI. That was pretty poorly done, where like just tentacles are popping out of the body, and then all of a sudden they're just gone. It's not interesting. Harbinger Down. Whoever kickstarted this, you got your money stolen from you because they didn't know what they were doing. Music and sounds, real quick, I'll just go ahead and say this. There's basically nothing interesting in this as far as music and sounds go. It's getting a 2 because it didn't really kill it for me. The rest of it did. And editing and pacing is getting a 1. So you got 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. This movie gets a 3 out of 10. Harbinger Down. Only watch it if you're a true sicko for these whodunit, alien, invasion sort of stories, or if you're like some kid who just turned 18 who loves Among Us.